What is the best way of moving an Alocasia from soil to a semi-hydro medium like Leca? We know that you can move plants like philodendrons or Hoyas to semi-hydro by taking the roots off completely, and your plant behaves like a cutting and roots very nicely in the Leca, and as such avoids root rot. Can you do the same for an Alocasia? In this video, I'm going to use these two Alocasia Scalprums to conduct an experiment where for one Alocasia I will keep the roots on, and for the other Alocasia I will take as much of the roots off as I possibly can, pot them up in Leca, put them under the exact same conditions, and watch to see what's going to happen. So you want to stick around to the end to find out the answer. Do we keep the roots on or do we take them off? Does the plant die when we take the roots off? I don't know. Let's find out. So for this experiment, I'll be potting up my plants in Leca. This Leca has been soaking in my Clonex clone solution for not less than 24 hours and is well primed to get that root action going. I'm also going to be using this double planter. This is a planter from a company called Letpot. Check for the link in the description below. And I love this planter because it's a self-watering planter really, and you can have many plants living in the same environment, drawing nutrition from the same reservoir. That's the reservoir over there, and you can actually attach many planters, so you can have this living outside, you can have it living indoors. It saves you space and probably saves you nutrient solution as well. But this is perfect for my experiment because my plants are going to be living in the exact same conditions using the exact same nutrient solution. This is the actual planter itself. It's got these slits in there, so the Leca is sitting within the nutrient solution, and the nutrients and the water is going up to the roots. So that's two of those. And that is the reservoir over there. But of course, in true Leca Queen style, I've made a modification to this pot. I have decided for this experiment, I want to throw everything at it. I've put an air stone in here, and that is attached to an air pump. That's my little air pump there. Not a very big one, just a tiny one. And that is going to be infusing air into my nutrient solution to get those roots as healthy as I possibly can get them. So obviously this pot doesn't come with that little hole, and I just made a hole there for my cable, for my air stone, because where would I be without my soldering iron? So that's going to work really, really well. I am super excited. So let's get doing. I've got my gloves on and I'm going to take my plants out of the pots. So gently squeezing the pot and out that comes. So because this is an Alocasia, there might be some corms in there. So just very, very gently taking the organic matter off the plants and checking to see if we've got any corms in there, because finding corms is like finding gold. That's another new plant for you. Nothing there. So I'll put that aside and I'll grab my next plant and just very, very gently squeezing. And again, no luck in the corm department. So I'm going to take these plants outside, give them a wash and get those roots all cleaned up. I've washed my plants. That's what the root system of one looks like. And that is the other plant. And I was actually lucky enough to find a corm. So if things go pear-shaped, that is my insurance policy. That is my new Scalprum plant waiting to grow. So I'm just going to germinate that later. This one over here has got some corms coming up there. So I don't want to disturb it too much. So this is the one that I'm going to keep as having roots. And this is the one for which we're going to take the roots off. I've got my shears that I've sterilized here, and I'm just going to take off as many of those roots as I can. That looks like it's a tiny corm forming, so I'm not going to cut all that off completely. That's my plant there. I've taken off as many roots as I can take off. So yeah, I've never done this before. This is scaring me. I've sterilized my scissors again, and I just want to take off some of these because some of these are a bit, you know, I know they will slough off in the Leca, so I'm just taking them off now. And that's what I'm left with right now. So that's my plant that's got the roots on. That's my plants with the roots off. I'm just gonna go and give these another wash. Okay, here we are. Plant with no roots. Well, I mean, yeah, I know I'm saying no roots, but I don't know, do you think I should take out more? Okay, I'm gonna take out more. I'm gonna stop being a wuss and I'll take more off. Oh, this is really scary. Okay, I've done it. This is the plant that has 0 roots. There are absolutely no roots on this Alocasia. I'm insane. This plant is going to die. I'm telling you right now. And this is the plant that's got roots on it. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. This is very much gonna die. So in order to prevent cheating, I've got some labels here so I know which plant is the one that's got no roots and the one that does have roots. So let's start potting up. Grab my Leca. So fill that up with Leca. These pots are quite big and the plants are quite small, so there's gonna be a lot of Leca at the bottom because I don't want my plants to go right down to the bottom. So this is the plant that's got roots and I'm just spreading the roots nicely across there and filling that up with Leca. This is my plant that has the roots. So this is the roots label and I'm just gonna put that there so I know which one it is. And I'm now gonna pot up my other plant that doesn't have any roots. No roots plant, put that up. Okay, that is my no roots plant. My no roots label, done. And of course, as you can see, there's no roots protruding from any of my pots. That's my planter there, that's my reservoir. I've got my special sauce in this can, which is comprised of Clonix clone solution and root zone, and that's just going to help my plants root. So I'll just pour that into the reservoir. As you can see, my air stone is doing its job. You can see all that lovely air that's bubbling through my nutrient solution. I think my plants are going to be very happy in here. That Leca is hitting the nutrient solution and I think that plant is going to be happy, and I'll just put the second one in. I'm really happy with this. I think my plants will be happy here. Not sure about the one that doesn't have any roots, but I think I'm providing the best environment that I can to make sure that those roots grow if they're going to. And I realize that not everyone's gonna have a setup like this, but I'm putting the air stone in there just for the sake of science, and maybe a different experiment will involve me not putting in air stone. But I think this is gonna work out really well for my plants. So I'll see you in a few weeks when we take a look at what's been happening. It's been 2 months since I put my plants into this planter, and I'm really happy to report that they're both still alive. Let's take a look at the plant that had roots when we put it in the planter. This is a new leaf that's unfurling. This one here is a leaf that was formed in that 2.5 months. This leaf over here is pretty much packing up. It's yellowing and it's leaving, which is completely to be expected. This leaf here is just about hanging on. Now, let's take a look at the all-important root system for this plant. Look at that. Look at those roots that are growing into my reservoir. That looks absolutely fantastic. These roots were not there when we first put this plant in this planter, so that makes me very, very, very excited. They're white and very, very healthy, which is just beautiful. And that in itself tells me that that little bubbler that I had, this one over here that's in the reservoir, is actually helping to oxygenate those roots, and those roots are at optimal health. Let's now take a look at the plants that didn't have any roots when I put it in this planter. This is the no roots plant. So first of all, I must say that the fact that this plant is alive is in and of itself an absolute miracle. I have never actually chopped off the roots of an alocasia, so this is just fantastic. This leaf over here is just pretty much dead, which is fine. But what's really interesting is this is a new leaf. Look at how fabulous that leaf is. It's absolutely beautiful. That is a new leaf. But what's really interesting is when you take a look at this over here, this one here is a teeny tiny leaf. This leaf emerged before this one did, and it really did not go any further than this. I don't know what stage this is. And then after this one came out, this one came out. I reckoned this plant actually spent a lot of energy creating roots, and it started trying to make this leaf, but it wasn't quite there yet. And once those roots were established, then it threw out this big one. Now let's take a look at what's happening with the roots. Ta-da! Oh, look at that. Look at that. These are roots that were not there before, obviously, because remember, this plant looked like this 2.5 months ago. This plant has actually created a new root system as it's been living in this leca, and it's now given me that fantastic leaves. So when I pick up this, oh, hang on, let's see if I can do that. This is the plant that had roots. Look at that. There's hardly any difference in the root systems between this one and this one. Well, okay, this one has got like 3 or 4 strands. This one has 2, 3, but they're still all very, very healthy. You can see my air stone there. This air stone has been providing air into that nutrient solution and literally just been infusing that solution and making sure that those roots have got a fighting chance. And damn, I think it really, really worked. You can see all the residue from the leca, which is absolutely to be expected. That's why that nutrient solution is a bit on the brown side, but I am just completely stoked with this experiment. I normally wouldn't do this, but because this is an experiment, I have to see it all the way through. So I am going to take these plants out of their pots and see what's happening inside. We'll start with the no roots plant. That's the no roots one over there. So just very, very gently tipping that leca out. That is that plant over there. My gosh, look at those roots. Remember, this is the plant that had no roots, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at that. I am absolutely gobsmacked. I'm just absolutely shocked. That is absolutely fantastic. 2.5 months ago, this plant had no root system. This is what it looks like now. This is what having a proper semi-hydro setup can actually do for you. So I'm pretty sure if I had just put this in a setup like I normally do with just the leca in the pot and I put it in the reservoir, this plant would probably be dead. But because I provided that extra oxygenation, I think that's what did it. So I'm going to put this one back and we'll look at the one that had roots. Now I don't want to mix them up. Actually, it won't be hard to mix them up because this one's got the little leaf, so that's fine. This is now the plant that started off with a few roots before we put it in the planter. Very, very gently. I am just absolutely shocked. I'm shocked. Look at that. This is the plant that had roots when we started. This is the plant that didn't have roots when we started, and I know this because it's got that little small leaf over there. When you look at the root systems of these two plants, this one seems to have a bigger root system than this one. Absolutely amazing. But remember, when we started off with this plant, it had a little bit of, that's a tiny, tiny corm that's there, that's come off, and I'm pretty sure I did that. That was probably gonna grow into a little Scalprum plant. There's another one right there. So this plant has really just been so happy in there. It's kept a hold of those corms that we're developing before we put it in there, and it's just really, really happy. Look at those two babies. I absolutely adore them. I'm really happy with how this experiment has gone. Yeah, it's brilliant. this was a resounding success. I'm giving that experiment a 10 out of 10, but you don't always need to have an air stone to take your roots off when you're transitioning your plants from soil to leca. Watch this next video where I show you how you can transition some of your philodendrons from soil to leca by taking all the roots off with no air stone in sight. I'll see you there.